C-SPAN recently traveled to Kentucky with Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack. The trip was one in a series by the Secretary looking at the impact of stimulus spending and Agriculture Department programs on states and communities. He held a town hall meeting and toured a hospital in Harrodsburg, met with a family in their home in Shelbyville, and visited a food bank in Louisville.
What are we doing in Kentucky today?
This is part of our rural listening tour. We're traveling around the country in various parts of America to listen and learn from folks in rural communities what's on their mind. Also be able to respond to any questions or concerns they have about USDA and the policies and practices of the USDA. And it's also an opportunity for us to educate folks about the Recovery and Reinvestment Act, the role it's playing in their region and in their state, and what we see as the future for USDA.
Tell us about the process of states with this recovery money. How do they get this money?
Well, we refer to the USDA as an everyday, every way department. And the reason we do that is because there's virtually no part of a community that's not impacted by USDA's investment. So, for example, we do housing loans. We do direct loans to home buyers. We also do guaranteed loans. We work with cities, counties on infrastructure. We do a lot of wastewater and water projects. We're heavily involved in business and industry development in rural communities by making direct loans or grants to attract business jobs. We're making investments in energy projects in rural communities, looking at second and third generation biofuel opportunities. We also are heavily involved in providing that bridge for families that are struggling right now economically. Part of what we do is provide food assistance, and it's a very direct stimulus to communities. For every $5 we invest in food assistance, it generates about $9.20 of economic activity in the community. Because as people are able to buy more food, that means people are able to sell more food, which means people are able to produce and process more food. So there are an awful lot of activities that are generated by the Recovery and Reinvestment Act. All of it designed to create jobs and to stimulate economies and to create some sense of hope in rural communities.
What do states do? I mean, they have a list of projects, I guess, and they apply for something specifically, or
some of the money is based on a formula and is provided to states so that they can essentially take care of their needs. The education money, for example, is formula driven. Some of it, however, is based on applications that are received for example, in our department, the USDA applications for business and industry grants and loans go to our rural development mission area. And those applications are scored and ranked, and the applications with the highest scores basically get awarded until the resources run out. And the Congress and the President have been very forceful, have put together a significant investment, probably the largest investment of its kind in the history of the country, because we were faced with an economic circumstance that was probably the most serious since the Great Depression.
Secretary of Agriculture Tom Vilsack is in our home state holding another in a series of rural community forums to talk about rural development and how the department and the government are working with rural communities, certainly during some of the challenges that we have faced. Two-time governor from Iowa, now Secretary of Agriculture Tom Vilsack. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yeah, it's great to be with you.
Very glad to have you with us. These are challenging times across the country. The stimulus package was approved, the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, $20 billion added for food stamps, but that's just a drop in the bucket for the way the department is working now with residents across the nation, especially here in the Commonwealth, to help out.
There's no question about that, and one of the things that's great about these forums is the opportunity to educate people about precisely how the Recovery and Reinvestment Act is happening and working in their individual states. In Kentucky today, we'll be talking about the fact that just with the USDA, there's been $127 million invested in a wide variety of programs and projects that impact and affect people in their day-to-day lives. Everything from housing to forest improvements, to helping communities deal with water problems, to creating new business opportunities and bolstering community facilities, all of that being done by USDA through the Recovery and Reinvestment Act.
It's been a few years ago when I was slimmer and had more hair that I talked to a former Secretary, Bob Berglund, who said, Jeff, there'll be a day that rural America will be the new Main Street, that infrastructure will come, businesses will come to communities as opposed to large cities, and will develop from the rural areas up. And a part of that is coming to fruition today. A lot of the work being done by your department to help to bring infrastructure to the local areas.
Well, there's no question about that. And as we reach for President Obama's vision of reducing our dependence on foreign oil and ultimately breaking our addiction from foreign oil, there's no question that rural America is going to play a very key role in helping create that vision and realize that vision. First, second, third generation biofuels really impact virtually everything that we grow and everything we raise. Can be used to produce these fuels, and that creates jobs, building new biorefineries, staffing those biorefineries, providing new markets for products. It's a pretty exciting opportunity for us, but we have to seize it. The Recovery and Reinvestment Act, through both the USDA and the Department of Energy, create real opportunities, and with the Farm Bill, we can supplement the Recovery and Reinvestment Act by investing in these biofuels. So I look for a resurgence in rural America if we invest wisely. What we have to do is we have to focus on wealth creation strategies. We have to bolster rural communities so they're great places to live, work, and raise families. When we do that, we help America's farmers and ranchers, because so many of them, including many of them in Kentucky, rely on that off-farm income, either the farmer and rancher themselves or a spouse working off-farm to basically supplement the farm income that allows them to keep the farm.
A couple of quick points that fall within your department, sir. A record number of individuals now on food stamps. Another example that the U.S. Department of Agriculture isn't just about farming, it's about people and nutrition.
Right, it is. Jeff, we refer to the program as the SNAP program, which is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. As you mentioned earlier, $20 billion of the Recovery and Reinvestment Act is being invested in SNAP. Just so your listeners don't think that this is just about providing assistance to families that are struggling, this is also an economic stimulus. In fact, it's probably the most immediate stimulus of all of the stimulus money that's being invested right now in the United States. Why? Because 97% of those SNAP benefits are paid and spent within 30 days of receipt. And for every $5 of SNAP payment that is spent in an economy, it generates $9.20 of economic activity. It nearly doubles in importance. So it's a direct stimulus. It provides opportunities for people to purchase more food, which means we're going to have to process, stock, store, and raise more food, all of which helps farmers and ranchers around the country.
Mr. Secretary, you know me by now that I'm never short of questions, but I realize that we are short on time, and there is an audience there in Harrodsburg that is waiting to hear from you today. As a lifelong resident of the Commonwealth, we welcome you to our state. We hope that your meeting is profitable today. Iowa and Kentucky are a number of miles apart, but in terms of being a part of the solution of the industry of agriculture, we feel like we can play a role, and certainly are honored to have you in the Commonwealth today, and I'm especially honored to have you as a part of the morning show this morning. I wish you well. Thanks for your time.
All right, take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Harrodsburg, Kentucky. It's a beautiful farm. Yeah, it is.
I'm going to need to get a couple of things out of this, sir. Are we right on time? Early?
We have probably 10 minutes until we're supposed to start.
Okay.
But I also understand that our president is very much a sports fan too, so I wanted to present our secretary with this UK basketball that I signed. And I was going to say that hopefully this will give you the opportunity to go over to the White House and take on the president in a little one-on-one or a little horse. And I was going to say that this being the case, that you could win, but that might not be such a good idea. So. But again, we want to welcome you to our state, to Kentucky, and thank you for the wonderful job that you're doing, and we look forward to working with you in the future. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, I tell you, I don't think I want to take on the president in that game. Put this over here. He is an avid basketball fan, and in fact, they have an outdoor basketball court that was recently constructed there, and he brought the North Carolina team and apparently played horse, and he claims he won. But you know, who's going to contradict the president, right? Well, let me also, first of all, thank all of you for being here today. I know you all have busy lives, and you can be a lot of different places doing a lot of different things. So this is really great that you have taken time from your busy schedules to be here. And I want to just start with just a couple of minutes of conversation about the United States Department of Agriculture. As the commissioner indicated, it's a department that is maybe not as well understood by many people around the country. And we are in such an extraordinarily beautiful facility. I want to thank Ralph Anderson for allowing us this opportunity. He says this is a barn. I don't know. Where I come from, this is not being considered a barn, but you know, you all have a different way of doing things down here. But this is really quite a facility, and Ralph tells me that he's been in business for 50 years, and he is guaranteed another 50 years. So he'll be around for 100 years. That's a pretty good deal. So you can see USDA do a lot more work on farmers markets, community supported agriculture, linking local schools and institutional purchasers with those fruits and vegetables and products that those smaller producers are creating. For the larger operations, you're going to see us focus extensively on trade, export opportunities. The U.S. has a trade surplus in agriculture. Unlike most of the other areas of our economy, we have a trade surplus. In other words, we send more out than we receive. We need to continue to expand that. And that means having a continued focus on better marketing American products, particularly those genetically modified products which so many farmers and ranchers raise today. And then the folks in the middle are going to require new strategies. And one of those new strategies is to continue to expand opportunities in the biofuels and renewable energy area. There are tremendous opportunities for rural America, for farmers and ranchers to profit from the use of their products to produce renewable fuels or the use of their land to produce renewable energy. We also have to surround our American farmers and ranchers with strong, vibrant rural communities that create those off-farm jobs. That's why the USDA is engaged and involved in a variety of other efforts. We do 50 to 60,000 home loans a year. In fact, as a result of the Recovery and Reinvestment Act, just in this congressional district where we are today, we will invest about $25 million of recovery money here in this congressional district to spur new housing opportunities. We'll continue to invest in community facilities. Again, in the state of Kentucky, we're going to spend millions of dollars helping communities do everything from buy police cars to focus on health care clinics to creating possibly expanded library facilities. We're going to continue to invest in infrastructure, particularly in water, wastewater, water treatment operations. Again, the Recovery and Reinvestment Act has already indicated about $3 to $4 million in Kentucky for those projects. We're going to try to build strong, vibrant communities, and we're going to invest in them. The Recovery and Reinvestment Act has already, just the United States Department of Agriculture, has already obligated $127 million to rural Kentucky. So there's a wide variety of options and opportunities that we're engaged in, and we've been given the opportunity through the stimulus money to begin aggressively pursuing these strategies. All of it designed to do this, to create wealth in rural communities, to create wealth. That's what farmers and ranchers do every single day. They grow crops, they sell those crops, the money comes into the community. We need to do more of that. And we need to figure out ways in which we can add value to our agricultural products and create manufacturing opportunities through wise investments. And that's what the President wants done, that's what I want done, and I'm sure that's what you all want done. I'm sure that's what the Commissioner is already doing. So part of what I hope to be able to do today is to make sure that you understand that USDA is an everyday, every way department. There isn't anything, there's no domestic issue we can talk about today that USDA doesn't have some involvement in. I want to talk about health care, but we can talk about nutrition and increasing nutritional values of school lunches and school breakfast programs that we at USDA administer. So USDA is involved in a wide variety of things, and we also involved obviously in a substantial amount of research that's being done in our land-grant universities. So, tremendous department, and often underappreciated and underrealized. But it is a department that's committed to restoring and expanding prosperity in rural communities. Now, I'll finish with this. Here's why. It isn't just the economy. It's the value system. It's the value system that's represented in this facility. A 50-year commitment Mr. Anderson's made to this community. It's a commitment that every farmer and rancher makes. It's playing by the rules, it's working hard, it's raising your family with those values and making sure that if your neighbor needs help, you're there to help. It's a sense of community that this country desperately needs. We have it in rural America. We have to preserve it. And the way you preserve it is by having enough economic opportunity to convince these young people to make their homes and their livelihoods here, right here in rural Kentucky. So with that, let me stop. The way this works is that I need one brave volunteer to ask the first question, and then everyone seems to relax, and they start asking questions. Dave Lazarus, where's Dave? Dave's in the back. If you ask a really tough question, Dave will answer. And if he can't answer, Richie, you're on. And so it's a little warm here, so if you don't mind, if it's okay, may I take my coat off? Is that all right? And I just need a volunteer. And I'll try to repeat the question so folks hear it. Yes, sir.
If you go back to 1850, we had 23 million some people. 1900, 76 million. 1950, 152 million. 2000, 272 million. So about every 50, 60 years in the past, it has doubled. Way back, it was more than doubled, but from 1950 to 2000, it nearly doubled. So right now, I believe there's around 305. It's about the highest number that I have seen as far as population now. So we have actually jumped 30 million in 9 years. And what I want to stress is it's on our shoulders as farmers and ranchers to feed all these people. And is it safe to say that in 40 years we're going to double to 500 million people or 550 million people? I don't know, but the past says that we very well could. So bringing those points up, what I want to stress is that, you know, the way to feed these people, we need to be able to feed them here at home with our own resources. We cannot import food like we import our oil, and I think we all understand that. But we got to be more productive on the acres we have. And there have to be investments made on the acres we have. And I'm worried that a lot of cost will be associated with our inputs, for example, to where we can't have a profit, you know, on our farms. But, you know, science and the lack of water, I think, will hurt us more in the future. The lack of water will hurt us as far as our yields, and not a lack of science, because science is working real hard, like you mentioned, the biotech crops. But anyway, 40 years from now, when we look back, when these guys are farming, community leaders, and look back, I hope that they can see that we have identified a lot of these issues, because right now we spend 10% of our money on food, so we take food for granted. If we had to spend 50%, you know, it sure would be expensive.
Well, you raised a couple of really, really important points, and let me see if I can address them quickly. The first point is water. That is an emerging issue, not just in the United States, but around the world. And in the United States, it's emerging in two ways. One is the quantity of water, and certainly in the western part of the country in particular, we're faced with some serious water shortages, which is why we at USDA are engaging and involving in investing in our forests. And you say, well, what's that got to do with water? The U.S. forests in the western part of the United States basically provides a reservoir for water for 60 million Americans. When you don't properly maintain your forests, when you don't remove some of that early growth and allow those older trees to prosper, what you have is you have serious runoff. There's not a collection of water, and essentially you waste that water. One of the things you'll see from USDA is a very significant commitment to our forests as an ecosystem, as a water reservoir, as a water holder. That's one strategy. Second strategy is figuring out ways to do more with less. And that's where the land-grant universities come into play. They do a lot of research on how we can irrigate differently, more effectively, and we can take those concepts and apply them globally. The second point that you raise is the issue of productivity. And it's not just an issue that the United States is going to face. We face it right now globally. We see an expanded number of hungry people in this world, and that makes for insecurity. That makes for difficulty. And science has a role to play. We've seen a dramatic increase in yields over the last 20, 30 years, and it's a result of hard work on behalf of farmers, but it's also a result of hard work on behalf of scientists, people who are looking at seed genetics and trying to figure out ways in which they can make that seed even more productive than it is today. Speaking from my experience in corn, I can tell you that when I moved to Mount Pleasant in 1975, if we got 100 bushels to the acre, that was considered a pretty good year. Soon it was 200 bushels was sort of the average. Now it's 300 bushels, and I talked to a CEO of Pioneer the other day, and he says 400 bushels is right around the corner. The problem is that the rest of the world doesn't necessarily see the benefit of that science, which makes it more difficult to have that science accepted in other parts of the world. And so the reality is in many parts of the world, in sub-Saharan Africa, some parts in Asia, some parts in South America, they're not using this science as effectively. And that's part of a strategy that we have to develop at USDA, figure out how can we do a better job of convincing people that that science is something that we should support, not something we should fear. You have to test it, you have to make sure that it's safe, I understand. But in order to meet the challenge that you laid out, you're going to have to be more productive. Because the number of people here globally is going to rise, the amount of land available for farming is not going to grow. The reality is it's probably going to shrink as communities expand globally, and so we really are challenged productivity. And frankly, in America, we need to do a better job of figuring out precisely how to eat in a nutritious way that allows us to better utilize the food that is being produced, because we've got a healthcare crisis, and that's a whole other set of issues. Folks, let me end by thanking all of you. Obviously, I didn't answer all the questions that you all had today, and I think that we have websites, letters, make sure that you communicate with us. We've got a green and white sheet there. Get your comments, submit it to us, and we'll try to get a response back to you. So I want to thank you all for being here today. And again, the Anderson, thank you very much upstairs. Thank you very much for using this beautiful facility.
Hey, listen, you guys are really important to this process. I mean, you truly are. We can't continue to have an aging population. We've got to figure out ways in which young people can be involved in this. And, part of what FFA can do is help us figure that out. I mean, we know it's about education, and we know it's about making education affordable, and we also know it's about making beginning farmer loans available. But you guys really need to be thinking about this, because it's really going to be your your challenge. The questions in there about, you know, the world's population is 6 billion, and soon it's going to be 7, and then 8, and then 9. We're going to get to a point where we're really going to be stressed in terms of our capacity to produce, and it's going to be on your watch. So help us. All right? Thanks for helping out today.
Thank you for coming.
You bet. Nice to see you.
Thank you for coming.
You bet. Thanks for helping out today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The water was absolutely.
I saw them all leaving. I was like, where are they going? Let me get my purse and I'll take you back to them.
I think so. Chris will write it.
Secretary Vilsack next headed into downtown Harrodsburg to tour a hospital that's received funding from an Agriculture Department program.
This is the new wing that starts right here and it goes to the east.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead. And we opened this up, the first floor, in 2004.
Okay.
It's our registration area, and then we'll see imaging and surgery and the emergency department. And then second floor we just opened up in February, right?
Yes. Great. Great.
Here's our MRI that we had a mobile out back for about 2 years, and we were able to bring in. Now we're going to change this out next year and go for a 1.5. This is right now is only a 0.2.
So tell me what that means.
It's kind of like we're going from a tricycle to a 10-speed. Is what we'll be doing with this one.
More specific image? Be a doctor's...
We cannot do any abdomens because the magnet's so small, and that when the patient breathes, you get a lot of motion, so it's not good for the patient. So we have to send those out.
Okay.
So 1.5 would be sufficient.
That's sufficient.
I mean, to do
That's top of the line right now. And we have ultrasound and mammography here. So we're looking to upgrade the mammography to digital.
Now you don't deliver babies here, but if do any of your doctors who are treating pregnant women use this ultrasound, or is this a different kind of?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
We're not trained in it, so we don't. That's harm to the patient, so we don't do it.
You know, this ultrasound's amazing. It's just incredible.
We do other things. We do hearts, we do carotid, venuses, abdominal work, pelvises, and then Ephraim's 10 miles down the road, and they're the ones that deliver our babies in this area.
So again, so I'm glad you have it. I hope I never have to use it.
It's one of the, small.
Hi folks, how you doing? See most of you again, but haven't seen you before. How are you, sir? Kevin, nice to see you. What do you do here?
Physical plant director.
Oh, you keep things running.
You doing, Kevin? All right. See you, buddy. Nice to meet you. Yes, sir.
Did he play ball with you?
I followed him.
All right.
He was.
Hi, Nancy. Nice to see you.
Come this way.
All right.
I'm very proud of my department. I started here about 20 years ago.
Small towns. I mean, it's very. They're moving up in the world.
We've got 4 pre-op bays and 3 recovery post-op bays. A lot of days, especially on Tuesdays, we have 8 patients coming and going.
Kind of looks like the set of ER or Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, but what we do is we get the patient ready here. If they're having a scope, we take them to the endo room in the back. If they're having a general procedure like gallbladder hernia repair, we take them up to the big OR up the hallway and come back to recovery and then back here and leave from here. Like I said, in the old days, we used to take these stretchers all up and down the hospital, running back and forth. So we went from 2,200 square feet to 56. So we've really
expanded.
Yeah. Now they said I couldn't get you into scrubs.
No.
come tour the OR. But I want you to come. You can't go.
You know, that'd be as close as I want to get to the OR.
Yeah, this is the place you really don't want to have.
That's right. I don't want to have anything.
I want you to come.
Yeah, you gotta have a colonoscopy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we're promoting colonoscopy.
Every 5 years, thank God.
Okay, now you can't go by
All right.
past here.
Got it.
But this says these two doors are our supply rooms with our sterile supplies and our instrumentation. This is our endo room. And then the two rooms up at the end are OR 1 and 2.
So you have 2 operating rooms.
2 operating rooms and our lounge, and of course our male and female lounge, and our decontam area, and where we
decontam
do central for our instruments. Where we decontam our instruments and all. Everything's down here.
And the anesthesia, is that where you get the anesthesia?
That's her little supply room paperwork.
Okay.
We love it down here. And I was telling Warren yesterday that in the old days, one of our rooms was very small, that is a supply room. It's just amazing to have all the room that we have now. And we had an autoclave, which is what we sterilize our instruments, our stainless steel, that was inserted in 1949. We found the paperwork when we removed it, so to put a new one in. So when we came down here to this was something else. It's absolutely every one of us, Debbie, all of us, just we've all been here a long time.
Tell me what it does for morale. I mean,
for morale?
Yeah.
It was like Christmas, wasn't it, Deb? And I tell you, for morale.
And it doesn't. We don't work. We work hard, but we can see as many patients now, or more than we could then, because when we were up on the floor, you had to go take them back all that time, and we could do more surgeries.
You can spend more time with people too, so that they feel like you got a personal touch.
Yeah. Well, we're just thrilled to have you both.
Well, the reason, and you might want to say, well, why does a Secretary of Agriculture come here? And it is because the USDA actually invested in this facility, but continues to invest in healthcare clinics and hospitals across the country. You may say, well, why does USDA do that? Well, because farm income oftentimes is not enough to support a family, so there's off-farm income is needed, so this is an employer. So maybe some people who are working here, their husbands or wives farm. And it's an opportunity to draw additional business opportunities. If you don't have a good healthcare clinic, then business gets a little skeptical about locating a facility because their workers won't get the healthcare they need. So it's all about building a stronger community, and we want to invest in those communities. Well, thank you all.
Well, we're just glad you came to see us and just have a good trip back.
You can turn the rock music back on.
Okay. Now, this is supposed to be healing for the body. That's supposed to be music that soothes the soul.
All right, very good, very good. Thank you. Hi.
Hello.
Sorry to take you away from your patient. Thanks very much for the opportunity to see this wonderful facility. Thanks for what you do.
My name's Chandy.
Hi. It's been nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
We'll let you get back to your work. Thank you.
Well, we're okay for a few minutes if you all would like to go into this room here and we'll show you a little bit.
Sure. You bet.
This is our trauma room. This is where we do
Oh, those are big lights.
most of our CPR. If we have a bad cut or anything, we bring them in here and we use these lights. We have a monitor for each bed, except one room. We've got 6 monitors. It also shows up behind the nurse's station out here. And that's
Can I ask about these lights? Why do you need, I mean, why not just a regular light bulb?
well, we might want to do surgery in here.
Really? Because it might be that much of an emergency.
Well, not the real surgery, but you know, a lot of times you get a chainsaw accident or something like that, and the doctor can see much better with these big lights.
Interesting.
So we have 2 crash carts that has all of our medicine for our heart patients, and that's our supply cart there. Yes, sir.
This is going to sound like a dumb question. When I think of Craftsman, I think of tools. I think of
They came from Sears and Roebuck.
Okay, so
they work out very well for what we need.
So
here.
okay, all right.
There's a larger one here.
Very good.
And that has supplies and stuff. And this is our laceration and wound cart right over here.
How many beds do we have in the other OR? I mean, ER?
On the other ER, we had 4 and like a pelvic table. There was 4. 4 and 1. And down here we have 7, plus we have 2 in the hall if we need to bring them in. And sometimes we need to bring them in.
Really?
Mark, how long have you been with us?
37 years.
37 years.
Wow.
In the emergency room?
Majority of it.
Holy cow.
OB, floor,
37 years.
every shift.
And thank you.
Yeah.
You're
Wow.
welcome.
You've seen a lot in your
I've seen a
37-year
lot.
career.
I've seen a lot.
And as far as coming from the old to the new,
Oh, there's been a big difference, and everybody comes in and tells us how nice this is. This is the greatest thing that Harrisburg's ever done. We're still the same people, same doctors, still do the same thing, but the new facility has really made it.
Interesting. That's interesting. Appreciate it. Thanks for what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we were, I found out he was coming, and he had a tight schedule and I had a tight schedule, so we've been juggling, trying to make sure that we could get together. So I've heard you've had a great day so
Yes,
far.
we have. It's a wonderful,
Isn't this-
wonderful facility. Just a spectacular facility. Very impressed.
I will. I will.
We're an investor in this, you know.
I know. I know. You can see what good things happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've been spending the day with your commissioner.
He's a good one here.
Hey, Governor, how are you?
How you doing?
Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you.
Glad you can make it out.
Thank you for all you've done for the hospital. Oh, well, it's our pleasure. We want to be able to sort of showcase this nationally so that people understand what can be done in rural communities. A little ingenuity, a little creativity.
your help.
Right. Well, thank you. Listen, you would be very proud of us. Glad that you are. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for your time. You bet. Nice to see you. Thank you very much.
I'll try very hard.
You're doing a good job maintaining the place. You got a house that you can, you got extra time, you come home and take care of it.
Secretary Vilsack's next stop was in Shelbyville, where he visited a house that had been rebuilt after a fire with funds from an Agriculture Department program.
So I just think that's the better way to approach it. Yeah.
This is John Hocker.
Hi, John. How are you?
All right.
Nice to see you, Tom Vilsack. Thanks for letting us come into your home.
That's all.
How long have you lived here, John?
Might be old. What you mean? Since I built the house?
Uh-huh.
I've been a little over a year.
How's it? Is it doing what you wanted it to do?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Yeah. Did you have a local contractor build it?
Bobby Woods built it. He, I guess you could call him a local.
And what did you? Where did you live before you lived in this house?
What you mean?
Where did you live?
Right here.
You
My
lived.
house burned.
So basically, did you live here before and had this remodeled, or did you buy this? I want a little.
No, this house here, we had it built new.
Okay. So where did you live before you had this one built?
Right here.
Oh, so
and
you-
then the other house right here on this.
Ah.
That house sitting in the same property, on the same place as the other one sitting.
So what did you do while they were building the house? You must have
I
moved.
stayed with my daughter.
Okay.
John,
She was.
go see Ruby. She's waiting inside for her. His wife is waiting inside.
Okay. She was probably, your daughter's probably happy you got this thing built, huh?
Yeah. I'm happy I got it built myself.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
I'm telling you the truth, everything, she treated me fine and everything, but ain't nothing like having your own place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's go inside for a little bit.
All right.
I understand you stayed with your daughter while.
Yes, I did.
And so I told your husband, I said, I bet you your daughter was happy when this was finished. He said he was happy when it was finished.
It's true.
Did you have to buy a lot of new furniture, or did you just use the existing furniture?
We used what we had, and my daughter gave us a couch.
How long did it take you to build the house?
I tell you the truth, I really don't know. I really don't.
I don't have at least that.
I don't either.
Well, it probably took several months. I
Oh
would imagine.
yeah, it did.
Yeah. And this is your retirement home? Or are you still working?
No, we're not working.
Yeah, so this is your retirement home. What do you like best about this new place?
Well, I'm not hard to please, I mean.
Well, it looks like you got a pretty nice kitchen.
Yeah.
Good-sized kitchen.
Yes, real nice.
To me, that would be important.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I do on my baby.
Oh, you're a baker, huh?
Yeah.
What's your specialty?
Well, I used to make jam cakes.
Jam cakes. Now, what's a jam cake?
I put raisins and jam, nuts.
Huh. My wife's never made a jam cake.
Brown sugar pie.
Yeah, brown sugar pies.
She makes all time.
Brown sugar pie.
That's my great grandmother made brown sugar, eggs, milk, butter, vanilla.
You know about brown sugar pie?
I'll bet it is. Is it like a custard? Is that what it makes?
More like a pecan pie, you know, but.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's good.
Not good for you, but good for you.
Now, your husband doesn't eat any of that stuff, though, does he?
No, it's true.
You don't have any of that brown sugar pie?
Don't have any? No, sir. You ain't got none right now.
I know you don't have any now, but when you have some, do you eat it, or do you somebody?
No, I eat it.
I'll bet you do.
I told him, I said, she can cook most anything.
Yeah.
My wife has this theory that a pie is only good for 24 hours, so we have to kind of consume it.
Mm-hmm.
So we had two boys, big, tall, strapping boys, and we didn't have any problem killing off a pie in 24 hours.
That's what we did.
So. And how many bedrooms? One, two?
Oh, well, you can do it.
2 bedrooms. You can go back in there.
2 bedrooms?
You can go all over back there.
Yeah.
Do you have grandchildren?
Oh, yeah, I have a bunch of grandchildren.
How many kids you got? How many grandkids?
I had 4 boys and 1 girl.
Oh my, you got. Oh, this is
and
nice.
This is the bedroom, and my oldest boy, he just passed about a couple years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Well, my wife and I are about ready to welcome our first grandchild into the world.
Well, I have a set of twins, grandbabies, and the rest of them singer.
Is grandparenting everything they say it is? It's a great opportunity.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. This is really what it's all about, helping people have home ownership and the dream of home ownership.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
When it burnt, we didn't know I was going to get it built back.
That's right, you sure did.
So you went to USDA now. So your neighbors must be a little jealous of this new house, huh?
Oh yes, you know people are gonna be jealous.
Yeah. Well, this is great. Well, I hope you enjoy it.
Well, we do.
And,
we do. We really do.
And next time I come back, I want one of those pieces of brown sugar pie.
Okay.
Either that, or I'm going to tell my wife about that.
Okay.
See if I can find a recipe for that.
If you worked for 38 years in the school system, you deserve a new house.
Is that what you did?
That's right.
Worked for 38 years there, kept all the schoolyards mowed, and worked, done them during the day. And at night, I went in at 7 o'clock. Well, I used to go in at 11, work 7 in the morning, and I come home and get sleepy, and I go back and mow the schoolyards, and I run a farm outside.
Good for you.
When'd you rest?
I just get a little rest in between times.
He didn't have to rest. He had some of that brown sugar pie. That kept him
That'll give
going.
you energy. Good to see you.
Well, we thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure meeting you. John, thanks very much. Again, thanks for letting us come into your home. Enjoy it.
God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here we go. John, you in their picture? All right. Very good. Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks again, and thanks for your service to the children of the school district.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy to do it. Well, that's what it's all about. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Great.
Great to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Thank you. How are you?
Ernest Scruggs, I'm with Rural Development.
Ernest, nice to see you. Thanks for your service. How long have you worked for Rural Development?
30.
30 years. Sheesh. God bless you for that, man. God bless you for that. We're just talking about the equestrian event you're going to have here. It's a real opportunity for us to partner, figure out ways in which we can help that. Just talking to the governor, that's a really good project, I think.
Okay.
So we need to look for ways to help.
All right.
All right.
Johnson, I work with Rural Development.
Hi, John. Nice to see you. And how long have you worked for?
Since 1984.
So you're the youngin'.
That's right.
You're the rookie. Well, thanks for your service. This is This is an important, you know, it's important for us to get the word out about USDA being an everyday, every way department. So many people don't realize that we do houses. We do community facilities. You know, the people who you help know this. But the overall population doesn't see USDA in that way. They see it as a department that's focused on agriculture, which it should be, but in order to support agriculture, we've got to have strong rural communities, and that's where you guys come into play.
Thank you.
So thanks for your service.
Okay.
You bet. Thank you.
Be careful.
You bet. You too.
Secretary Vilsack's final stop of the day was in Louisville, where he visited a food bank.
Go ahead.
More of these to put that on now.
Oh, sure. You bet. You bet.
Oh, nice. Dave Schlosser, our Director of Operations.
Nice to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for the opportunity. Hello again. Hello.
Nice to see you, sir.
Nice to see you.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to see you,
Nice to
Linda.
meet you. Joey Stinson.
Joey, good to see you.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Bishop, nice to see you.
Greg Williams. Nice to meet
Hi.
you. Stay and say well. Thanks for coming out.
Oh, happy to do it. Happy to do it. Thank you for all the hard work you all are doing. This is, whoops, I guess we got a couple more folks here. Hi.
Courier Journal.
Hey, nice to see you.
Pam Rice.
Hi, Pam.
This is the crew here that gets the work done. And I just wanted you to have a chance to see the people who, you won't see their faces publicly, but they're the ones getting the food to the people it needs to get to. So.
Okay. $1 million check, that's something you don't see very often. What's that all about?
Well, Yum Brands is the owner of KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut. They're headquartered in Louisville. And 8 years ago, they became our largest corporate sponsor. And they give us $1 million a year. About as simple as you can put it. And that is obviously huge to us in our operation. So whenever Yum Brands calls, we answer the phone.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You always open the mail too, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. We can
This
head
is a
on
beautiful
back to the
facility
warehouse.
you have here. Yeah.
We can head on back here.
How big is the facility?
Well, our warehouse is 55,000 square feet.
That's good
we
size.
We have a 100,000 cubic foot freezer and a 60,000 cubic foot cooler, which we use to hold our produce and fresh fruit that we try to mix with the food we give away. We have about 30 staff here working. We service a 13-county area here. We're a member of this Feeding America Food Bank Network, which you're familiar with.
I am.
And our service area is 13 counties. We have 8 counties in Kentucky and 5 up in southern Indiana.
And the population of those counties would be?
It's about 1.3, 1.4 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have a sense of how many people you impact and affect on a daily basis with your help and assistance?
Well, the last time it was counted was, the estimate was 150,000 unduplicated people each year.
That's a wonderful thing you all are doing.
Last year we raised, we collected and distributed over 12 million pounds of food. So, you know, and the USDA products were about 20% of that mix. Well, we're going to go to our warehouse, if that sounds good.
Hi.
Great.
Hi, how are you?
This is the boss.
Okay, Kinkle Volunteer Director.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
You're the volunteer director, so
Yes,
you assemble all the people who are willing to spend some time here?
I do.
How many volunteers do we get here a year, Patty?
We got about 2,400 volunteers that come through
Really?
on a regular basis all year long.
Boy, that's an
Tremendous
organizational
support from the community.
That's an organizational
Yes.
challenge.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Pat. Go ahead, Secretary.
Got a group of young folks that back here volunteering for us.
Okay. You know, I just might mention to the media folks who are here, this is about a twofold opportunity. One, obviously helping people who need assistance and help and providing nutritious meals for them. But it also helps the producers throughout the United States, because the USDA is a purchaser of commodities. We in turn make those commodities available, and then these great folks distribute them to people in need. So it's an impact not just on the families who get the food, but it's also an impact on the families who produce the food. And whether you look at what we're doing here in food banks or what we do with the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, the SNAP program, people need to see this as more than just assistance for families. It's also economic opportunity. We were just visiting about the stimulus program earlier, and I'm proud to say that the stimulus is going to have a direct impact, will it not, on this particular operation?
Absolutely.
You might want to share those statistics, but it's fairly impressive.
Yeah. The demand for food assistance from Dare to Care is up over 30% from last year, and that's really a result of the economic slowdown. And in addition to the increased demand, we're moving into a particularly tough time of year for us because schools are letting out, and kids that get free breakfast and free lunch suddenly lose that in the summer. So our demand is up right now. The supplemental bill will result in almost 250,000 pounds of additional food coming into our warehouse between now and the end of the year. That's going to go directly to the people who need it. And to put that in perspective, that's 173,000 extra meals that we'll serve this year because of the Secretary and the President's efforts to get that stimulus bill passed. So, Secretary, on behalf of our food bank and everybody who receives our food, thank you.
Well, actually, I'm the one who should thank you, because the purchasers and the recipients will be receiving a lot of protein. Much of what we're going to be able to purchase through the stimulus is protein in the form of turkey and chicken and pork and beef. All of these segments of agriculture are currently struggling, particularly the pork industry specifically, and so to the extent that we have an outlet for purchasing pork and then getting it to people in need, again, it's a double benefit. And it's just very, very important to emphasize the double benefit of all of these programs. You know, when I talk about SNAP, I basically point out that for every $5 we invest in that program, $9.20 of economic activity occur in the community served. And you know, particularly for the youngsters, you mentioned the fact that the schools are letting out. We'll be looking at a school reauthorization bill this year, child nutrition reauthorization bill, where we hope to be able to figure out even better ways than we already have to make sure youngsters are fed during the summer months. It is very important. The President has challenged all of us to end childhood hunger by the year 2015. We're working on that at USDA. It's also important for us to deal with the obesity issue, which is why protein is so important to have a balanced meal. So a lot of good work here, and I find out that 2,400 people volunteer their time, which is another tremendous accolade for the community, that there would be that many people willing to come work and putting packages together and getting them distributed throughout a 13 county area.
13 county area. Service, yep.
So very impressive, very impressive.
If I could just, one other thing about the child piece, you may have seen the statistics, but just in our 13 county area, 1 out of 4 kids under the age of 5 doesn't get enough food to live a healthy, normal life. 1 out of 4 kids in our community isn't getting enough food to live a normal, healthy life. 1 out of 5 kids under the age of 18 is in the same situation. So you can, that's with school lunch and school breakfast. Now you take that away, and it really puts the burden on folks like us and USDA to get that food out there. So again, we're just so grateful for all the support we've gotten from you, Mr. Secretary.
Well, you know, people look at the USDA and they think it's about farmers and ranchers, and it clearly is, but 2/3 of our budget is in food assistance programs. 2/3 of our total budget food assistance, which is why we often say that USDA is an everyday, every way department. We are impacting and affecting every single American every day, 2 or 3 times a day, and the youngsters are the ones who need it the most, the balanced meal. We have issues with hunger, and we also have issues with childhood obesity, which we're also trying to address. They're basically twin problems, in some cases emanating from the same source, and so those balanced meals become extremely important for dealing both with the hunger and the obesity side of the equation.
We have one of our agencies here, the Healing Place, and Stephanie Schaefer is the Director of Operations.
Hi. How are you?
Hi,
nice to see you.
To you how important the TVAP commodities are in the kitchen.
First of all, tell me about the Healing Place.
We are a homeless shelter with an alcohol and drug recovery program. We have 2 shelters here in Louisville currently, a men's and a women's, and we do approximately a little over 1,000 meals a day between the 2 shelters.
Good for you.
And we also, this year, we've seen a lot more of the residents in the local neighborhood coming in and joining us. We live in the middle of Beach Run area, Beecher Terrace area, and those folks are struggling.
Yeah.
So they're middle projects and they're struggling. So we're seeing more of them come into both of our shelters and eat, and we're thrilled to have the bounty that we're getting today.
Good, good. Well, you know, I have an affinity for folks who are helping out folks with alcoholics. My mom was an alcoholic, and she had problems with prescription drug addiction. She overcame them. But, you know, folks who are in that situation need a lot of help and don't have to be worrying about where the next meal comes from.
Well, and this is incredibly helpful to us. We are so thrilled. And we're in the middle of building a new women's shelter. We'll be able to house 250 women.
So what do you get from, so this looks like canned goods?
Today we've gotten grape juice, orange juice, grapefruit juice, beans. We're getting some chicken, which we are so tickled. We're getting some canned pork, which we love to see.
Good.
We've got noodles. So what every red-blooded American lives on, peanut butter.
Peanut butter, good, good.
Peanut butter, and you know, that's an important thing for us. And it's an awesome, this helps to make the meals that we provide for all these folks in the shelter.
Well, thanks.
And without it, we couldn't do what we do at the cost that we do it. We certainly appreciate you for that.
Are you open 7 days a week?
We are.
7 days
we are open 7 days a week. We are a residential shelter. And then we have overnighters who come in and spend the night, and then folks who come in from the neighborhood. So.
Well, thanks very much for what you're doing. Thanks for being here today.
Well, thank you.
We're serving about 400 individuals a month through our emergency food assistance, and almost 30% of those are senior adults. Almost 30% are children. So, and this year to see so many people come in as first-time folks, and you see the awkwardness, people who aren't used to having to ask for assistance, and so that's a heartbreaker too. And then we're looking for ways to serve the children whose families won't come in and use the emergency food. But our Kids Cafe is just incredible. We, with a partnership with Dare to Care Food Bank, we serve kids 4 nights a week. So any age child can come in, get a hot meal, nutritious meal. When I came, you know, I was learning about it and the poverty and what was going on with Kids Cafe. It is so much more than just a convenience for families. Most of our families are single parent families. A lot of them are working 2 jobs trying to make ends meet. But we also, unfortunately, have a lot of kids whose families just aren't involved. They're not in the picture. They don't even know where their 6-year-olds are when they're coming to eat at our Kids Cafe. We have teenagers who are telling me, we don't have food in our house. We may get the food stamps at the beginning, but 2 weeks in, there's nothing. And I asked them, what would you do if Neighborhood House didn't have a Kids Cafe? We'd eat out of garbage cans or go hungry. So this is serving just a vital, vital need for kids and families in our neighborhood.
Pam, can you do me a favor?
Absolutely.
I've got this one-man campaign to end people using the term food stamps and using SNAP. And the reason for that is because it focuses the attention where it belongs, which is on nutrition. The other term has a tendency to make people think of people in need and assistance, or people that maybe, you know, don't need the help.
Charity.
Yeah, charity, and we want to get away from that. We want to focus on the fact that what we're providing is really nutrition. You know, if we want people to overcome addictions, they got to be strong and healthy. It's not an easy thing to do. If we want youngsters to do well in school, they have to be well fed. So it is really about supplemental nutrition. So SNAP, I'm on a one-man campaign.
I got the message loud and clear.
Okay, all right. Well, this day sort of amplifies the message of USDA being an everyday, every way department, and also underscores the importance of the stimulus money. We saw folks who benefited from home loans. We've seen folks who will benefit from food bank assistance and help. We've talked to farmers who are getting direct operating loans. We talked about energy and the expanded biofuels opportunities, all of which are designed to move rural America forward. This has been a very good visit for me, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
And what will you do with what you've learned? Will you share it with the President?
We'll share it with the President. Actually, we have a cabinet meeting tomorrow where we're focused on the Recovery and Reinvestment Act. I want to take back the stories of this particular food bank to talk about the assistance it's providing and the assistance and help it's also providing to America's farmers. I think sometimes we don't make that connection as effectively as we could. These folks obviously are very appreciative of the stimulus, and the farmers who are being able to sell product because of it should be appreciative. We've got a state here in Kentucky with the governor and the commissioner of agriculture who are very focused on expanding rural opportunities, and we saw that today, and we saw the stimulus in action today, which is great.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
Have you been going across the country? Have you been seeing other states? How does Kentucky compare as far as needs and resources?
Well, Kentucky, unfortunately, has one of the higher unemployment rates, and so therefore the need here is particularly great. But you know, the need is great all over the country, which is why the president and the vice president were so insistent on a very large stimulus package. Why a number of members of Congress were very supportive of a larger stimulus package, because this was an unprecedented economic challenge we faced. The president wanted to meet it forcefully. He did. We're beginning to see consumers have more confidence. We're beginning to see markets turn around a little bit. While we still have a long way to go, I think it's fair that we're getting back on the right track. Once we do that, then it'll be up to the economy to basically continue the progress. But without this stimulus, tens of thousands of jobs would have been lost. People would not have received the food assistance that they're going to get here at this food bank and food banks across the country. Cities would have been laying off a lot of workers. Schools would have been laying off a lot of teachers. It would have been a very serious problem for the country. So I'm happy that we're putting these resources to work as quickly as we can, and that states like Kentucky are utilizing it properly.
Are you going to any other states after this?
Well, we've been to about 7 or 8 states, and we're going to continue this tour next week and for the foreseeable future. We want to make sure that people have an opportunity to ask questions and for me to learn.
Thank you.
Thank you, bet.
Thank you so much. Okay, I sure will.
Okay.
You can watch this program with Secretary Vilsack or other C-SPAN programming on stimulus spending at any time by visiting our website. Also there, we have a link to the Agriculture Department's interactive map that details USDA stimulus spending state by state.